Hi all, it's Jill Sprott featuring this week's Scrap Your Stash Challenge. When it comes to our products, often it's out of sight, out of mind. So let's open our eyes and actually see with fresh eyes this week and look at envelopes and pockets. In honor of Valentine's Day, this week's layout is all about love, love, crazy love. What I'm going to be doing is leading you through how to create a layout that explores your philosophy of love. So it isn't just a matter of a love theme layout, but rather a layout that's packed with journaling. That's why the pockets and envelopes in your stash are going to come in handy this week. We're going to work in as many as we possibly can and use each one as a home for journaling. So let's get started. Because there's going to be a lot going on the page, my advice is to use a neutral background like cream, gray, or in my case, black. And then find all of the envelopes or pockets that you possibly can, like these from Jelly Bean Soup in different styles, Whisker Graphics glassine envelopes, some snap pockets in different colors and styles. Seven Gypsies also has a bunch of cute envelopes. And then you can go way into your stash and find neglected stuff like these smash pockets. Pull it all together and determine a color scheme. I decided to just keep all of the envelopes neutral and then work in some aqua, green, blue along the way. Keeping the color scheme simple will allow me to kind of add a lot to this page without overwhelming it. Choose your accents. I'm going to try to use this POW paper from American Crafts. I've never done it before. We'll see how it works out. I've chosen buttons and other accents from my mind's eye. I love their new collection, including these cute little labels. I'm going to keep an eye out for the aqua ones that work with the color scheme. I want to work in some stamping. I think it'll be fun to put a few kind of surprises in the journaling cards along the way. And then I will use whatever is close at hand that works with the same color scheme and also kind of accents or enhances the theme of love. And so that really, for me, means rummaging through supplies and just kind of noticing not just color, but theme along the way. It's time to give a shout out to journaling cards. They were made for layouts like this. They were made for cutting up, for modifying. They were made not just so that you can admire their fronts, but also notice what's on the back side, like these little beauties from Ali Edwards. They're perfect for layouts like this because all of those envelopes and pockets are begging to be filled with that loveliness. So find all of your journaling cards, your tags, pull out your new papers, because I think you'll find that your excitement level rises exponentially when you work in the new with the old from your stash. So I'm going to work in some of the new Valentine's oriented lines from Basic Gray, Crepe Paper, and American Crafts. I am also going to use some of the new day-to-day papers from Elle's Studio, as well as some Simple Stories stickers that I have been hoarding for the longest time. Though I could talk about supplies all day, it's time to start the layout. The best way to begin a layout that contains this much layering is to put the biggest items on the back. So that's what I did here. You can see the large envelopes on the back of the layout, and then the layering kind of goes by degrees. The smaller always over the bigger. In terms of color, you'll notice that I try not to put items that are too similar in color or pattern too closely together. In addition, I'm really guided in my arrangement by two sort of rules. The first is the rule of opposition. If you notice the black, I try to keep the black, the photo with me wearing black apart from the envelope that has black in it. The other rule is in terms of triangles. Notice the three white envelopes form kind of a visual triangle. And so as I start to add accents, I'll also keep that triangle approach in mind. With the basic framework of the page done, it was time to think about journaling. I had collected ahead of time kind of a series of prompts relating to love, or prompts designed to make you really think about your philosophy of love. And so I decided that each card on the layout would be devoted to one of those prompts. And so in a way, a person looking through or looking at the layout would find little treasures, kind of pulling out the cards and seeing a different topic or a different reflection on a given topic. So I was really specific when it came to trimming some of the journaling cards using a ruler. Others, I just sort of eyeballed it. Really, any way works. And then I picked a journaling prompt and got to work. Hand journaling is the approach I decided on for this particular layout. And one of the reasons for that is that I didn't necessarily think that precision would be an issue, especially when it comes to hidden journaling. It's not necessarily part or an overt part of the design, right? The handwriting. And so I also think that handwriting is just really intimate. It's very personalized. And with a layout about love, sharing my philosophy about love, it seemed a little too distancing to go with a typed approach to this. So I had to just sort of suck it up since I'm used to printing most of my journaling, and decided to grab my pen, my favorite Uniball, and just go to work. And I was really just fluid. I didn't second guess much of the writing. I just answered the questions. So you make a mistake, big deal. Again, it's hidden journaling and it's real. It's almost as if you're leaving little letters, again, little treasures for people to find someday. The journaling prompts themselves vary. Maybe it seems a little cheeseball to make a page about love, to share your philosophy about love. But I was thinking about it this way. If I had found a page from, say, my grandmother or great-grandmother, and, she was my age and reflecting on what she thought love was, sharing her favorite love songs or quotations about love, or her favorite love poems, sharing who really taught her to love, maybe sharing her greatest love story, all of those things. Maybe it's a little overwhelmingly about love, but it's kind of amazing at the same time. Culturally or historically, our conceptions of love really do change throughout time. And so even though maybe today the page might seem overly schmaltzy, who knows, 20, 30, 100 years from now, maybe, my great-great-grandchildren will be reading the page and they'll get just a little glimpse about, how this crazy woman really regarded the most important thing in the whole world, love. All right, enough of my waxing poetic about love. Back to the scrapping. If you noticed, I tucked a little R in one of the pockets, or rather, I'm searching for a place to tuck that R. And the R, of course, does not stand for Jill, but rather Robert, my husband. I won't journal on that card. I think in and of itself, it speaks volumes. As I'm preparing the contents of the pockets or envelopes, I am trying again to kind of repeat visual triangles, or what I do to one side, I do to the other. That way, no two colors are really in close proximity to each other, and there's a nice variation that develops along the way. You can see that the page is starting to get a little crazy, all those layers, and so it's crucial that as I pick papers, I stay true to the color scheme that I had decided upon. At one point I was thinking about pink, but it would just be a little too out of control. So simple color scheme does the trick. Time for the title. I discovered, happily, that my Cameo loves this glitter paper from American Crafts, and so I came up with a very original title, as you can see, but it says it all. It's what the page is about. I also plan to repeat the word on the layout itself, and then it's time for accents. I picked accents that, again, enhance the theme of the page, but also work with the color scheme. So these cute new accents from my mind's eye, there's lots of blue and green in them. I decided to use those, as well as some of my Simple Stories Snap collection. In addition, I decided that as I was adding the accents, I would mainly concentrate on the empty spaces, the spaces that won't really be filled with journaling. And I know you're probably looking at the layout and thinking, empty? Where's that? But I can see it, and you'll see where I noticed it. It's really just the gaps, those tiny little kind of in-between spaces where things overlap, where, for instance, you can see me adding this Studio Calico Darling Dear Heart here. And really the accents almost become a seamless part of the overall page. You'll see that I used another visual triangle with those chipboard hearts. Even though the hearts were mainly kind of orange colored, there is actually blue and gray there, and it works again in visual triangles here on the page, just to keep building on the same concept. So the layers aren't necessarily just literal layers of paper, they're also kind of layers of design, just constant repetition of triangle after triangle after triangle, as well as that basic rule, what I do to one side, I do to the other. I absolutely love my mind's eye labels. I hoard them. I buy doubles and triples of them, especially because they sell out so fast. And so I actually shocked myself by using one here. I didn't hoard it. I'm so proud. I used one of the aqua colored date labels and with my Amy Tangerine date stamp here. I decided rather than just to date the page, to date the page according to when I made it, I would date it with Valentine's Day 2013 because that's really what inspired the whole page. It's why I'm reflecting on the concept of love here. So every accent that I've selected, it really has kind of a purpose or a point. I try not to include things that don't enhance the theme of a page, otherwise it just becomes kind of extra product. And so there's really a logic to it all. As crazy as it all kind of looks, it really is there. For instance, if you look at that freckled fawn wood chip, it says love, and notice it's pointing to a heart. I just put a little my mind's eye label on the page that says my heart, because that really is what I'm trying to journal here. I love those glitter letters from American Crafts, and although there's not really much room to add them, a little monogram is always a nice addition to a self-portrait page. And so I'm adding my J for Jill. I think it works there without really upstaging the layout. Some women dream of a white knight. As for me, I've been dreaming for years of a white dye ink pad that actually works. And lo and behold, I think I've actually found it in the form of Hero Art's Hero Hues white dye ink pad, which I'm using on this layout with some of my brand new stamps from Mama Elephant. Both of the Mama Elephant stamp sets that I'm using include these cute little arrows, and so I'm going to be working them in on this layout. You can see already that my typical triangle approach is what I'm aiming for here, just having some trouble figuring out where to put the arrow. And so the arrows are not just random. I mean, they are awesome in and of themselves, but they also work with the overall page theme, which is, well, as we've established, love. Cupid himself, as you know, carried arrows, and he was really kind of the child of love and war. And so I thought it'd be perfect to put in a whole lot of that symbolism on the page itself. So you can see me adding in a bullseye stamp to complement those arrows. I like the way that the boldness of those stamps really works on this layout. You can see that it complements the photo as well as the black and white envelope. I incorporated the wooden circle pieces from my mind's eye by punching through the sticky layer in the back of each piece using scissors, and then I threaded a piece of cord through each one of those pieces and tucked them into the bottom of the layout, securing them with double-sided tape. I also worked in 3 little buttons, blue and green, just to, again, continue the color scheme. Following that simple rule, what you do to one side, you do to the other. So I put 2 buttons on one side and 1 on the other. And then the very last step was to finish off that journaling. I needed peace of mind for this, and so that's really why I put it off until the very end. As long as I kept it, honest, fluid, I didn't really overthink what I wrote, I found that the writing just flowed. And again, just don't overthink it. Just be honest, be real. Answer the question as you would if somebody just asked you verbally. And so I'll incorporate the prompts in the description of the video below if you'd like to use them on your own layout. I thought I was done after the journaling, but then I saw an opportunity to incorporate glitter tape, which is awesome. I used to have this aversion to glitter, but glitter tape cured me of it. So I used some powder, is the color of it, from American Crafts, and you can see here I created a little visual triangle. And then, with a few adjustments, I was done. Now it's your turn to scrap your stash and share the love. Your challenge is to gather together as many pockets and envelopes as you can possibly find and fill them with journaling. Journal your heart out. This page gives you the perfect excuse for that. At the end of the month, we'll draw from all of the challenge participants, and you could win a $10 gift certificate to 2 peas in a bucket. Good luck and happy Valentine's Day.